Hey guys, how y'all doing? It's me, Johnny, and welcome back to another one of our Sorare videos. Thank you guys as always for tuning in. Sorry for no uploads in the past few days. I've been quite busy and my wife is currently sick, so we don't know if it's the thing, that thing, but hopefully it's not. She's not doing too well, so I'm taking care of her and also doing my other YouTube channels at the moment. So sadly, didn't have as much time to jump into Sorare specific content. But now here we are. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you for sharing my passion for this platform. I have been really enjoying myself so much with this, and it has genuinely changed my life. Not in terms of like what is like rewards or anything like that, just the fact that I'm so in love with football again, man. I would love to watch 50 football games a day. That's how far it has taken me. And I really hope if you get into Sorare, this is the main thing that you take out of it, and that's that you will enjoy football so much more, because watching it, scouting players, getting information, that part of Sorare is just absolutely amazing, and I'm really enjoying myself doing that. So hopefully you guys are entertained. And if you are wanting to join into Sorare, one thing I want to mention is if you just sign up like that, you do not get given any free items in the game. So what I would recommend is go down into the description down below, click that link and sign up to Sorare. Because if you do that and you go to the invite friends section and you scroll all the way down at the bottom, it should say Johnny Sports right here. And if it does say that, that means you have activated my affiliate link, which means if you go into the card auctions and you buy yourself 5 players through bids, not through direct purchases, through bids in here, then you will be able to get yourself, no, you will be guaranteed to get yourself a free limited item, a free card for you to use, and hopefully it's going to be a good one. And the good thing about the auctions is this is the better place to go ahead and buy players normally, because you can get them for around 10% cheaper than the actual market price. Because if people want to put another bid above your bid, they have to go ahead and put in a bid that goes 10% higher than what you have put in. So let's say a player is worth 10 euros. You go ahead and put in an offer, let's say of 9.4, right? The next guy that comes in has to go ahead and put a bid on like 10 point and above. So that doesn't make sense. They can just buy a cheaper one off the market. So that is a very good way of basically getting players a little bit undervalued. But guys, let's talk about this last game week. Let's talk about the weekly and let's just look into it. So my friends, as you guys know, I did buy myself a couple of players to go ahead and see if we can get lucky for the weekly challenge. And you can see right here that I personally didn't get as lucky as I hoped to. First of all, Okumu, I think he was rested for this midweek European game that Gent has coming up. So that is a little bit of an issue. Matisse Samoas only managed to get 44 points. Van Wolfswinkel did exactly what I expected him to do. He got a decisive and he got himself 90 points, which was basically what I expected off of him. But the rest of the team didn't really perform. But as I said before, it was just like buying a lottery ticket. I did my research. I hoped things would go well. And it's just one of them ones where it could have gone perfectly and I would have been in there for rewards. But of course, just like many people out there that have gone ahead and bought players for this weekly, it hasn't really worked out to perfection. The guy that got the win here, let me show you guys. So the man that actually did win the weekly, let me show you what he has won. So Luckers right here. Let's jump into his account. In terms of cards, he managed to get himself a unique of a tier 1, and it is Teruhito Nakagawa. This guy has gotten a 90, a 78, and a 41 lately, so his average score is pretty high. And I'm assuming there's going to be a bunch of whales that are going to be contacting him and wanting to buy the card off of him, because this guy seems quite solid. Let's go ahead and put him into the Sorare data and see what his scores are. I mean, that's not a bad... I mean, ideally, he would have probably wanted to get someone better than this, to be completely honest with you. But I think if Sorare gave away a Champion Europe unique, I think that would have shocked most people. I don't think anyone really expected it to be a bigger player than this. But still, this is going to be worth thousands of euros, I would assume. And people would want to use that one throughout the summer. So the bigger accounts are probably going to contact him, try and buy that player off of him as soon as they can. But this man has actually been able to get a bunch of rewards, so congratulations to him. Now, why did I not get any rewards apart from failing in the weekly? We sadly, in the under 23 rares, got a game week in which I can tell you guys this, generally speaking, if we go into my SO5 results, because you can see more information here. If you go into my, how do I look at that? There we go, 250. So basically what has happened was, you can see some greens and dark greens on my players in the all-star rare, for example. So I did get myself the 0.02 ETH threshold, which I was very happy with, which is also why I went away from putting my Marseille players into Champion Europe. I put them into All-Star Rare because I wanted to get at least the threshold if I do fail. And it has happened. We have gotten ourselves 303 points, which is not too bad, but it's still 40 points away from going in and getting myself a Tier 3 Rare. And it's only down to the fact that I didn't get a single decisive on any of my players. So if Dimitri Payet, for example, got a decisive, it could have been huge, especially him being the captain. That could have possibly put us into the Tier 3 rare section. But one thing that I'm taking away from this weekend, and one thing that kind of gives me hope, is the fact that none of my players got a decisive. Now, normally you would think of that as like a negative, right? My Marseille team lost. Dimitri Payet still, in a game that they lost, managed to get 64 points. Khaled Akar, in a game that they lost as a centre-back, got 65 points. Paul Lopez, as a goalkeeper here, got 48.5 points despite no clean sheet. So seeing that kind of showed me, you know what, man? These guys are actually quality. It's like even in a loss, they can get good points. So what happens if these guys actually do go ahead and get that clean sheet at some point, hopefully soon? They're going to be playing midweek for me. I'll show you guys my lineups for midweek as well. But yeah, it's actually quite amazing to see that my team, and also Jesus Ferreira, he got me 61 points right here. 55, obviously he has a 9.5% boost on him through the XP boost. And he gets up to a 61 point total, which again, showcased me. It's so important for me personally, moving forward. I only want to buy players with high percentages on them. I'm not going to buy anyone below like 6 or 7%. That's going to be my plan, ideally. If I have no other choice, of course, I'll go ahead and get the 5% players and such. But Jesus Ferreira, with that 9.5% boost, the difference between 55.7 and 61 is just massive. Like, it really, really is. So for me, I really want to focus on doing that. But he had a great all-round game. You can see here he got 20 points, 20.7 points on his all-round game in a game that they lost as well. So 4 of my players in my all-star rare have lost their game. And the other one, Nicolas Storm, sadly hasn't been able to perform to the level that we are kind of used to seeing from him. Because if we look at Nicolas Storm and his performances lately or throughout the season, you can see that he's had a couple of amazing patches of play where he gets to his 70s and even 90s right here. But lately, it hasn't gone as well for him. But the good thing is he has amazing opponent scores here coming up for him. 56, 56, 60. That gives me high hopes for Nicolas Storm in the upcoming game weeks. So I'm looking forward to that. And then the Belgian league splits up, and I believe they are in the 5th to 8th position spots, which means they're going to be playing against those teams again, and we can get some even more utility out of him. So I'm looking forward to seeing some good performances from Storm, and I genuinely believe before the season is over, we could be getting rewards due to his performances that will outperform the amount that I have put in to go ahead and buy him, basically. So that's just one thing I wanted to point out. I am aware he didn't do too well, but still, as an attacking player, to go ahead and get myself 43.7 points in a game where he didn't score and such, I'll take that. That's not too bad. At least it's not in the 30s, so that's pretty good to see. And then for the under 23 rare, again, we have the Kaiser, who conceded, but still managed to get 45.9 points. That really makes me happy. It gives me more faith moving forward with the Kaiser. It's great to see him get a bunch of saves in, and that's something I wanted to see. I want him to gain a little bit more confidence. And Utrecht played against Go Ahead Eagles, who actually beat Ajax a game before this one. So I was actually scared going into this one, and they conceded, and I was upset. I got to be honest. I was upset about the fact that they conceded. But at the end, I still look at this and think, you know what? This kid has just recently gotten playtime. He has had like 5 to 6 games now, and he's slowly picking up better results for himself as a goalkeeper. You can see the confidence growing in him. We have a 45 and a 46 right here. A bit more consistency coming into his play. He's looking stronger. So for me, looking at that, I think, hey, the clean sheets are going to come at some point, and when they come, it's going to feel great, and his price and value is going to fly up. They have PSV Eindhoven next week, which is something I'm going to talk about when I show you my lineups for the next week. It scares me. It really does, because PSV can easily score 3 goals against Utrecht, but I am desperately hoping that that is not going to be the case, and I hope that Fabian de Keyser can have a lot of opportunities to showcase his abilities, which he definitely will, and he will have chances to make saves and everything like that. Maybe even a penalty save. We'll see how it goes, but I have high hopes in him in the upcoming game weeks. After that, they're up against Groningen, they're up against Waalwijk, Fortuna. Those are some teams that are not necessarily in the top 5 in the Dutch league. And then he plays against Feyenoord, which is going to be quite painful for me, because obviously I have a Feyenoord attacking stack, and they could be... So basically, I will be hoping for my Feyenoord players to do well, while De Keyser also has to do well, which is going to be very confusing because I don't have another under 23 goalkeeper at the moment. But yeah, I am hopeful when it comes to De Keyser. It's nice to see him get 45.9 points. I was very angry when they conceded. It upset me because it was one of the easiest goals like that I've seen being scored while watching the Eredivisie. The defense was all over the place in my opinion, and it kind of annoyed me, but it's all good now. I've calmed down. Again, Saliba, just like Kaletakar, just like Payet, just like Paul Lopez, the Marseille players have lost, and he still managed to get 62 points. This is the reason why I love Kaletakar. This is the reason why I love Saliba. These two centre-backs are just quality. I mean, Saliba is just so good. I desperately, desperately hope that this guy gets playtime at Arsenal, because if he doesn't, man, it's going to be such a waste of talent. It genuinely is going to be such a waste of talent, because he's so good in my opinion. I love Saliba, man. I really, really do. I think he's class. Every time I watch him, I think he can just play in that Arsenal team for sure. But obviously they have Ben White and Gabriel, who are kind of good performers, and it's going to be tough for him to kind of scoot in there and get his spot. And some people were saying Ben White could play right back, but Tomiyasu is really good in that right back position, so I don't see that happening. Ideally, I want Saliba to get a move. That would be a dream come true. Now, Kökçü again, with no decisive, still managed to get 61.2 points. And again, I will show you one thing that specifically caught my eye in this during this game week. Yes, sure, I have bought Kökçü in the hype, but I didn't just buy Kökçü for now. I bought him for the future. I've been watching a bunch of games for Kökçü, and he just impresses me every single time I watch him. And if he has even better players surrounding him, I think Kökçü will be incredible. And the fact that he goes until 2025 really gives me hope. And if the platform keeps growing, his price will keep going up no matter what. So I'm just going to hold on to this guy. I like him a lot. And in this 61-point game, I saw him lose possession a bunch of times. 21 times he has lost possession, and he had minus 10.5. Many players cannot recover from that and get above 60 points in their point total here, because that is just really deadly to your score. But someone like Kökçü can do it. He brings it back in other areas. He goes ahead and has 5 attempted assists, which gives you another 10 points here. So this is the reason why I really, really like Kökçü, because even if he doesn't get a decisive, just like Dimitri Payet, he is very much capable of getting a game in which he gets 60 points. And like I'm doing it right now, every time I captain him, he gets that boost on top of it, and he can get easily to 75 plus points, which is great. Having someone that I can bank on to get myself at least 60 to 70 points every single game week, that's huge, because then I only have to worry about the other 4. And having someone like Saliba, I can rely on him constantly getting above 50 points, above 60 even. Like, if we look into Saliba's scores again, you can see that this guy's pretty consistent with the 60s, and especially with the percentage boost that I have on him now, which is around 7% at this point. I can just see him getting me every time over 60 points on this one as well. And I just need passively, I need to replace one of the forwards with another midfielder that can get me at least 60 points every week. And I'm looking at a couple of options here that are very, very interesting to me. Now, obviously, Tchouaméni is pretty expensive. He's quite huge, and I personally would love to buy him. He is, according to a lot of stats, one of the best midfielders in Europe right now, not just under 23, but according to stats, he's one of the best midfielders in terms of like interceptions and all that good stuff for that CDM position. And Tchouaméni is someone that I would like to bring into my squad. Just right now, I don't have the funds to do so, but he is one that I definitely have on my watch list. And towards the end of the month, we might go ahead and get him and then put him alongside these guys and maybe take either Sinisterra or Diaby out of it to bring in someone like Tchouaméni. That's something I've been thinking about. We'll see what happens there. But another player that I personally would like to get, which I think might be even smarter, is Vitor Ferreira, because he's playing in a way more dominant side. He doesn't cost as much, as you guys can see there. And his SO5 scores are very good as well. And I think he probably would be a little bit more of a better choice for me, budget-wise, most importantly, but also because he plays for Porto, who are basically guaranteed to play Champions League every season. And they are, just like Ajax, very, very dominant in their league. So I look at that and I think, man, Vitor Ferreira could be class as well. And he still has under 23 utility for quite some time. So I'm genuinely looking at him as my number one choice, Tchouaméni as my second choice, and then put them into this lineup. And then you all of a sudden have, if he has a good percentage on him, like 8%, even like 10%, I'm willing to pay more for that. If he has that type of percentage on him, that's another player that gets 60s guaranteed without decisives, right? So I'm looking at Saliba, I'm looking at Kökçü, I'm looking at the likes of Vitor Ferreira, who could bring in 60s. That's already 180 points without any decisives calculated in. It's a base score that I'm kind of expecting from these players. And then I just need those weeks where the forwards do well. Now, obviously, forwards, you don't have that many that are as dominant as like the Ajax boys, for example. But that's something that we can definitely work towards. But I feel like I'm slowly getting to a spot where I feel more and more confident with the teams that I'm building. And even though I haven't won any rewards this week, it feels great to see the capabilities of my players, even up against adversity. Like Feyenoord did not win their game. None of my players got a decisive. They still got good scores, apart from Sinisterra, of course. But again, on a Sinisterra, I have that 9% boost. So he got 40 points, but I got 44. So that's quite big again. I just need him to get a few more chances in and do a little bit better. I watched the game. He took a few shots from outside the box. They were terrible. So hopefully the next game he's going to be doing better. But it gave me hope. It really gave me hope moving forward. And talking about moving forward, my friends, let's talk about this midweek and the team that I have registered for this week. This is it. Now, you might be looking at that and thinking, hold on, Johnny, I don't know that guy. Well, you don't know that guy because I just bought him. Yang Han Bin. After we got Lee Tai Sok as our reward, and he has been here and he's growing in terms of his XP. Very happy with him. I thought, hey, let me look into that Seoul team. And I looked into it and I realized, wait, they have a great goalkeeper. This man has 60, 56, 78, 56. And in this last game, they actually lost, I believe. And he still managed to get a really good point total. So I look at this and think, hey, this is going to be great. I'm going to have a goalkeeper for now and also for the summer. Now, one thing I need to mention is after this game week, there's like a 2-week period where the Korean league doesn't play, or at least his team doesn't play. But I got him with a 9.5% boost on him, which really gives me a massive advantage on his scores. So if he gets a 45, that still ends up being around the 50 for me. And those are types of scores that goalkeepers normally tend to get, even if they do lose, and which has been quite obvious with him. He is a very good all-round score goalkeeper. And that just gives me hope, man. I brought him in. I thought I need another goalkeeper. I only had two. I only had Paul Lopez and also De Kaiser. And I needed a third, and he is the one. And he goes straight into the lineup this week, which I wasn't even aware of at the time. I just thought I need this guy for the summer. And then I got him, and I realized, wait, he has a game midweek. So that's huge. He's going to be playing alongside a very strong side here Olympique Marseille up against Basel. Saliba expecting another 60, hopefully. Dimitri Payet expecting a decisive from him. Hopefully, this time around he can pull it off. But even if he doesn't, another 60 would be huge. Sinisterra, here's the thing. I had Diaby up against Atalanta, and I just decided against it after asking my community, after asking people in other Discords as well. They said, Johnny, go ahead and play Sinisterra. I'm going to put it out there right now. Partizan Belgrade, the team that Feyenoord is up against away from home, that team has only conceded 9 goals throughout the entire season so far. And they have insane mental fans who are extremely supportive and can be very intimidating. So I think the atmosphere is going to be crazy for Partizan. And I am worried that Feyenoord will not do as well as people expect them to do. Now, I still expect Kökçü to get myself at least 60 points, even without a decisive. I really hope he has a good game. And I am looking forward to seeing what he can pull off. But if these guys can perform, I actually have a really good team here of players based on their L40 scores. When you look into it, you'd see this team and you think, man, you might have a chance of getting rewards. So hopefully this midweek, we can get another rare reward. I would really love to be able to pull that off. But I'm slowly getting more and more confident with my strategies, with my plans moving forwards when it comes to Sorare. One thing that I have completely changed my thoughts on is buying players with high percentages. So if I was to go ahead and buy Vitor Ferreira now, let's go ahead and take a look into his rares, right? If we look into his rares at the moment, here is one that is at 5% bonus, right? He's the cheapest one on the market through bidding. Oh, wow. This one, actually, you know what? This one could be a good bid. What is it? 3,059. Would people bid more than that? No, they wouldn't. Oh, man. If only I had the funds right now, I would probably go ahead and bid on this one. I'm genuinely honest, but that's because I think, oh, it'd be a little bit cheaper. But again, you know what? I wouldn't. I don't think I would. I would try and get this one. It has an 8.5% boost on it. And that's all I'm going to be going after from this point on. And that's also one of the main reasons as to why I'm going to hold on to my players as much as I can. Because if I can build up their scores here, it's just huge. It's just really, really big for me to get those scores. Because if you imagine, if you have a lineup of players, right? If you have a lineup of players and all of them have 8% and upwards in terms of their percentage, do you know how much more of an advantage you have against anyone that plays against you? Let's say everyone on the platform has the same team as you have, especially with the stacks, especially with the top tiers. If you have a Bayern Munich stack, an Ajax stack, and all that stuff, the way you beat others that have the same players is either you pick the right captain that the others didn't pick, or you have the players with the right XP on it, with the experience points on it, because that's going to make the difference at the end of the day. So for me, turning a 55 into a 61 for Jesus Ferreira, that's something I want to do with every player I get. If Vitor Ferreira gets a 50-point game, I want to push that towards 54, right? Through the XP bonus. So if I do go ahead and buy players on the market from now on, one thing that I'm desperately focusing on is the XP. That is something I want to put out there to you guys as well. Please think about this and be aware that these XP boosts, they do diminish if new season items get released. So for example, this one is a 2021-2022 item. If the new items get released for the new season after the summer, then this one will lose 5% because that is the bonus you get for having a current season player. Now, my plan would obviously be to go ahead and get him to 10% at that point, right? Get him to at least 10%. And then when he gets that minus 5% on him, he's just as valuable as any of the newly, freshly minted items because he also has that 5% starting spot for the new season, right? That's something I'm going to try and do with every single item I have in my club that is from this season. So if we go into our rares, if you look at the percentages, Hanbin, I can easily get him to 10%. I think he will get there very soon, actually. He's very close to getting there. So Hanbin is going to be at least at 10% by the time the new items come out, and then he will go back down to 5, and it will work my way up to the higher ranks again. Mazraoui, when I bought him, I made a big mistake. I wish I knew about this earlier on. I probably would have bought a higher percentage player. And Mazraoui was injured for the last, 2 games now, I believe. But he's back, and he's expected to play again. So I'm looking forward to that. Lee Tai-sok, I'm building up. He's at 5.5 already. Nicola Storm, I bought with a 4%. Big mistake. I should have bought him with a higher percentage. But I have made the right choices on players like Vinicius Souza, 8.5. Sinistera, 9%. Fabian Ruiz, 10%. It's huge. A player like Saliba, we have worked up to 7%. Jesus Ferreira, 9.5. So that's one thing that I want you guys to take out of this video. If you do want to get an advantage over anyone on the platform, one of the things you can easily do is just get these players to buy them off the market with the high percentages, or most importantly, put together your training teams. And I will show you my training teams right here. If you do put together your training teams, the best way to go ahead and get your players XP even more than when you put them in with like randoms in there is if you put in, let's say, 4 commons that all are guaranteed to play, right? That are starting lineup players, and then your item in there, whether it be a limited or rare, whatever scarcity, put them in there with 4 players that actually do play. And ideally, they need to have a game as well, of course. That gives them even more XP. But if they don't have a game and you want to grow their XP, the best way to do it, to put them in, is to go ahead and improve their XP, is to put them in alongside players that actually do have games from my knowledge so far. So that's very important for you guys to realize. Now, game week 252, quick little look into the teams. We're back at listing 3 teams, baby. All right, so Alisson against Brighton. I can easily see him get like 70 points. If he does that, I think it still gets us like, 40 points possibly. So that would be quite huge from a common goalkeeper. I'm looking forward to seeing Alisson get a clean sheet as a Liverpool fan. Hopefully, it's going to be a good game against Brighton, which I'm fully expecting. Fikayo Tomori is up against Empoli. He's going to be in the All-Star Rare. The All-Star Rare team is the one where I don't have as high hopes. It's just a bunch of players that I am not putting into my big teams, but it's still a team that I hope to hit at least threshold with. And if things go well and I get rewards, nice. Nothing to complain about. So we'll see what happens there. Vinicius Souza and Nicola Storm are going to be in the same team, obviously playing for Mechelen. I am interested to see these guys perform well. Jesus Ferreira, obviously up against Nashville. Nashville have some really good defenders, especially Zimmerman. So I don't know what's going to happen in that game. Hence why I didn't put him into my under-23s. Talking about under-23s, this is the part that I'm mostly excited about. The Kaiser against PSV. Obviously, Eindhoven will have tons of shots and dominate the game, but that gives the Kaiser opportunities to make a lot of saves, which hopefully he doesn't concede more than 2 goals. If he concedes 2 goals and still makes a bunch of saves, I can see the Kaiser get at least over 40 points, so that could be good. Saliba up against Brest. Marseille, again, up against a team that is not as good in the league. I hope they can finally get that clean sheet and he can get himself 70 points because he gets 60 without a clean sheet. Kökçü against Pek Zwolle. That is the matchup that is going to push me forward. I fully expect Kökçü and Sinistera to do bits in that matchup. I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully, though, we don't see much rotation because of the a European game. It is a little bit late, so hopefully it's not going to be an issue for these guys to play fitness-wise. So that is a little bit of a worry of mine. If they have issues and they are not going to be played, I obviously will be dragging someone like Jesus Ferreira in there or changing my lineups completely. And then Ajax against Cambuur. Mazraoui is back. I have so much faith in this under-23 team. I don't think I ever felt this confident when it comes to my under-23 team, especially these 4 I'm very confident in. The Kaiser, it'd be great to see him do well against PSV and just give me that boost. That'd be great, but I don't expect him to do wonders against such a strong team. But the other 4, come on, guys. Please step it up. I'm expecting a 60+ from Mazraoui. I'm expecting a 70 from Saliba, hopefully. 80, 70 there, and then another 40 from this guy, and we might be in rewards, which is hopefully going to be happening. That would be a dream come true. The Champion Europe team, we have, again, the Marseille boys. Kaletakar in a loss, got 60 points last time, so I'm hoping that Caleta does even better and he keeps on improving. And I think I'm not going to sell him because he just seems too good. And he is rumored to go to multiple teams in the Premier League, I believe, especially West Ham are very interested in him. And I would love to see him go to the Prem. I would love to use him. And I think he would be a starter. So Pau Lopez, Caleta, if they can get that clean sheet finally, we could be looking at a really, really good point total from those two. Dimitri Payet, of course, could be doing well, but also could be rested. I just don't know. Sampaoli is a mad coach, and I don't know what to expect, honestly. Moussa Diaby against Köln. I expect him to do well. It's going to be a tough matchup. Köln is not easy to get past, but Leverkusen is playing at home. I do think that he has a very good chance to go ahead and score. And maybe Patrick Schick is back. I don't know if he is, but if he would be, that would help Moussa Diaby in terms of getting decisive as well. And then we have Hellas Verona, who are very good attacking-wise against Napoli. And Fabian Ruiz is going to be in there. I'm just expecting a 50 from him. And then ideally, he just goes ahead and gets that 10% boost on it. Fabian Ruiz has not been performing as well as he used to. So hopefully he's going to come back to form. But those are the provisional lineups for Game Week 252. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you take one thing out of this video, it should be that you have to go ahead and take care of your players' XP boosts. Get players that have high XP boosts. If you have players in your team, keep them, work on them, train them, and then you will be getting so much more out of them. Thank you for watching, guys. I appreciate you all. Long time no see, but your boy is back. Hope you're all well, and I will catch you next time. Leave your comments down below if you have any questions. I'll happily respond to everyone. Take care, and peace.